And welcome to Canada Star TV. This is our Newcomer program, and I'm your host, Alison Mullings. Today we're going to talk to our guest here, Joshua, and he is going to tell us all about his success story of coming to Canada. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Alison. It's a great privilege being part of this wonderful show.
Well, thank you. Thanks
I'm
for
a
coming.
great fan, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So why did you decide to come to Canada?
Well, besides the obvious reasons, Canada is a beautiful, great country. Nature is very beautiful, wonderful people, rich culture. There were two things that my wife and I really liked. The first one was that the immigration process was based on your skills.
Okay.
That was by itself like as if Canada was saying, please come.
Yeah.
We want you. We need you. Please come. So that by itself was very appealing. We felt invited.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
And
good
the
to hear.
second reason was multiculturalism.
Yes.
We really, really love that. Going to a place where they respect you, and it doesn't matter what nationality, what religion, what background, what language you speak, you are welcome, and your culture is valued here too. Mm-hmm. So getting on the bus or getting on the train and see people speaking Chinese, speaking Spanish, and nobody shutting them up, saying, hey, this is Canada, you gotta speak English. You will never see that. People embrace and they welcome whoever comes.
Yeah.
So that we loved.
Excellent. And you say you came with your wife.
That's right, my wife and my two beautiful dogs.
2 dogs.
Yes. and that was very important.
Yeah.
After Canada wrote to us and they said, yes, you could come, I told my wife, as much as I love coming to Canada, I'm never leaving my 2 dogs behind. So if they say no to the dogs, we're not going.
That was a deal breaker.
Big time. So on that November 21st, it was all 4 of us. My wife, my 2 dogs, and I on the plane.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, and it was cold.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Was it a shock, the chill?
It was shock, but we were expecting it.
Yeah, that's true. Like, try to brace you for it, but...
That's right. Embrace and be ready for it.
Yeah, for sure. So how was the process of coming to Canada? Was it a long process, or did it happen pretty quick?
It was very long. But I don't want you to believe that it was negative. It was a long, positive experience.
Okay.
Yeah, in my case, right, it took us 10 years. Our whole process took us 10 years.
Wow.
But it was not only the process, it was the steps getting ready for the process.
Okay.
The day we decided to come to Canada, right, it was mainly 2 things. My father had always told me, hey, go to Canada. It's a beautiful place. You're going to love that country. Go. But one day I was reading an article, and in that article it mentioned about the shortage of certain occupations that are well needed here in Canada. One of them was teachers, and the other one was nurses.
Okay.
And that it was a very interesting article because it mentioned that Canada is at a point where it's going to have to start importing teachers and nurses from Latin America, from Asia, because there's not enough people to take care of the needs here.
Okay, yeah.
When I read that, I told myself, I'm a teacher because I've always taught English.
Okay.
I've always taught English. I love teaching English.
Excellent.
So I said, I'm a teacher. What do I need? So I went to the website, to the Canadian government website. I checked it out. There was a program called Federal Skilled Worker Visa, which is a visa based on your skills. And on a yearly basis, they will publish a list called the NOC list. And that list is basically the occupations the government expects to be needed in the future.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, but they update that list every year. This
Every
year, your occupation might be there.
Yeah.
Next year, it might not.
Oh.
Right? So when I checked it out, teacher was there.
Perfect.
So what did I do? I had the experience, right? Because they required at least 3 years experience. I saw the experience. I saw the language skills. I said yes. There was one thing that it was a no. You know what it was?
Which?
I had no university degree.
Oh, okay. They required a
They
university.
required, of course.
Oh, okay.
So what did I do?
Went to university?
That's right. The next day.
Excellent. The next day.
The next day.
Oh, wow. You're quick.
I was ready for it, eh?
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
the next day I went to the university and I checked out the university. Oh, do you have teaching program? Yes. Okay, I'm here.
Perfect.
So that took 5 years.
Wow.
Because a bachelor's degree is 5 years in my country, in Venezuela. After the 5 years, I applied. Right? And the year I applied,
The job was on the list?
it was still on the list.
Perfect.
It was still on the list.
That's awesome.
So I applied, eh? And when I applied, the years kept on going, eh? First year, no answer. Second year, no answer. Everybody would always tell us that you would usually get an answer after the second or the third year. But the third year, there was no answer, right? And I went, okay, wow, I was worried about it. I even went for a master's degree in marketing.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes, because I said, hey, you never know, right?
Yeah.
So I took a master's degree in marketing, just in case, right? And one day, 5 years after my application, I had a call from a number that I didn't know, and usually I don't answer those calls. And then I checked it out. I checked out the voicemail, and it was the Canadian Embassy in Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
The next day I called them up, right? And I said, oh, did you try to call me? Oh, yes, we've been trying to reach you, but you're not answering our emails. Right?
Oh, really?
You're not answering our emails. So I checked my emails, and I went to the junk.
Oh, no!
Yes, I went to the junk mail.
Oh, my goodness.
So I went, oh, yes, okay. So, yes, I'm still interested because they asked me, are you still interested?
Yeah.
Right? And I said, oh, of course I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then after the fact, I realized why it took 5 years. It's because in the year, I believe it's the year 2008, they changed the law. They changed the whole process, eh? And that changing was a positive change because from that point on, the process was going to be faster for the new ones applying. Instead of waiting 2 or 3 years, they will know or yes or no within 6 months.
Okay, wow.
So it's very good. It's faster.
Yeah.
But what happened to the ones that were on the list already? We were sent bumped to the back.
Oh no.
Bumped to the back, yes.
Wow.
But I don't resent that, eh? Because that gave us more time to get ready for saving money, right? For saving money. And after Canada said yes, in less than a month we were here.
Oh, really?
Because as a couple, it was a family project to come. It was a family project. My peers were investing, buying houses, buying new apartments, traveling all over the world. My wife and I, we would just save money.
Yeah.
Save money. Our vacation was just drive down to the beach, stay camping.
Yeah.
Stay camping a night or two, which is great too.
Yep.
But we never went overseas. We never did anything. We didn't invest because our hearts were set to come here, right?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Some people say that I just happen to be a Canadian, but I just never knew.
Yeah. Didn't know until you got here.
I didn't know.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
What was the first challenge you faced when you got here?
That's a great question, eh? Because most of us, we just focus on trying to get here. Nobody thinks about what's going to happen after I get there, right?
Yeah.
When we arrived, we both knew that in my case, it was going to be harder to get a job.
Okay.
It was going to be easier for my wife to get a job.
And what does your wife do?
She's an administrative assistant.
Okay.
But she's American.
Okay.
And we knew that her skill and her language was going to make her process a lot easier than mine, and we knew that.
Okay.
But we knew that one day my turn would come.
Absolutely.
So we were ready for that. Nevertheless, coming here and facing the reality of not even having a job interview, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing.
Handing out all the resumes and all the applications
not
and
being
then
called
not
for an
hearing
interview.
anything.
Not hearing anything. If somebody would have called me and said, okay, sit down, this is your interview, I would be happy.
Yeah.
Because I'll say, okay, what did I do wrong, right? And I would analyze myself, and for the next interview, I'll be ready.
Yeah.
But not even that. Eh?
Yeah.
That was the biggest challenge, not even the interview. And I was ready for anything. I was ready for any work because I'm a very simple person. I could be a teacher, but at home I was a teacher. On the weekends I'll be a gardener with my friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my friends and we started a little gardening business. We mowed the lawn, right? I sold ice cream.
Oh,
I sold ice cream. I like
You're
work.
an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
as well.
and I'm not scared of working, eh? So I was ready for that, but not even the interview, right? So one day I realized something, that I had to do something different, right? So then I went to my resume.
Yeah.
I took out the master's degree. That's the first thing I did.
Oh really?
I took that out.
The master's degree that they wanted you to get to come here, you had to take it
No,
off?
the bachelor's degree I had to keep,
okay.
right?
Okay, yes.
It was a master's degree.
Got you. Okay.
I took that out, because that by itself spelled overqualified.
Really?
Yes.
Because they don't want to have to pay you more
That's
than
right.
they.
Hey,
Oh,
how
okay.
much is this going to cost us?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it was a bad combination: overqualified and no experience.
And underqualified, overqualified. You got to be
That's it.
somewhere in the middle.
That's right. So
That's
I
interesting.
took out the master's degree, and my first job was in telemarketing. That wasn't my first job when I got here.
Okay.
And the reason why I got that job is because the company was selling a product aimed towards Spanish-speaking people.
Okay.
Okay, so it made sense,
Well,
right?
yeah.
It made sense. Hey, I speak Spanish. They gave me the job. But unfortunately, the company relocated, and we were all laid off, eh?
Oh no.
Yes. But it was
That's not fun.
well, you know what? But it was still positive. You know why? Because at the moment they laid us off, it took me out of my comfort zone. It took me, because you settle, right? And there's nothing wrong settling, but I was comfortable.
Yeah.
I was comfortable, right? It was not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but if I had to, I would be
do
okay.
it, yeah.
I would do
Yeah.
it, right? So after that, after I was laid off, or prior to being laid off, I was really worried because it was my first job, and to qualify for EI, you must have a certain amount of hours,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I was counting the days because people were being laid off at different periods, right?
Oh, really?
And I was counting the days and counting the hours. You're not going to believe this, but I reached the hours and I surpassed it by 10.
Oh wow.
By 10, the day they called me.
No way. It was a perfect timing.
Perfect 10 hours after, eh? So when I was giving the bad news, I couldn't hide my happiness, eh? I was like, so it was not that I was happy that I was leaving. I was happy that, hey, I had this, at least I could qualify for this little help, right?
Yeah.
So when I went on EI, then that's when I had to realize, okay, what am I going to do, right? Among one of the strategies, I realized that I had to go to some sort of schooling in Canada.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You need something in your resume has to say that you went to school here, at least a course, because by doing that, you're demonstrating people that you speak English,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And you're backed up by an organization, the school where you went to, right?
Yeah.
And as one of my professors told me, and I will never forget those words that were said by Chris Lane. You know him.
Oh yeah, Chris Lane.
Chris Lane told me this. You know what, Josh? When you go to school, if you are a student and you go out there to the business place, if you're still at school, people will see you like a puppy.
Oh really?
Like a puppy. And I went, what do you mean? Well, how does a dog react? How does a big dog react when a puppy comes and bites it? Does the dog get upset? No, because he says it's a cute little thing. Yeah, let's have it. We'll play.
Yeah.
So if you're a student and you go out there, people won't see you as a threat.
Okay,
People would want to help you, right?
Yeah.
So that was a very important thing that I did. Eh? I went to school, and with that, I learned a new skill. I'm a film producer,
Yep.
right? I learned a new skill. I networked. I volunteered, right? I went to Rogers TV.
Yeah.
I
So
was
you
a
guys
volunteer.
volunteering
That's
there.
where I
That
made
looks
good
awesome.
friends. I had good experience there, but I needed a job. Right? Because yes, it's beautiful, all of these things, but
you
if you
gotta
don't
pay the
eat,
bills.
you gotta pay the bills, and the wife is not gonna be happy seeing you living the
Right,
dream
yeah.
and not bringing
Not bringing anything home.
not bringing the bacon home.
Yes.
right?
You need the bacon.
You need the bacon, eh? So I needed the job, right? And then I said, but I need a job that won't interfere with my schooling, right? So I said, hey, you know what? I went back to my resume. Remember that I took out the master's degree?
Yes.
Now I took out my bachelor's degree.
Oh, yes.
So my beautiful university experience that brought me here, bachelor's degree in modern arts, University Arturo Michelena, was out.
Was out, to just take
out
it
and
on.
about. I took that part of my resume out, and I applied as a janitor, cleaning the public washrooms at the TTC.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it was a great experience, and it taught me many things. Although I came from a background that I was not afraid of working, getting my hands dirty, cleaning is something I've never done.
Oh, really?
Yes, not even my house.
I used to do housekeeping, so I'm
so
very familiar with,
okay, you're really
with the
familiar.
nasty.
Okay. Well, I don't even think the nasty.
It gets bad, it gets good.
Well, if you're not used to.
Yeah.
And I never even cleaned my house,
Okay.
So then I started cleaning the washrooms, right? The public washrooms. And there's always that little stigma, That, oh, now he's a cleaner, right? And people will look down upon you.
Yeah.
And those are stuff that you don't put on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. I would say this is me cleaning a toilet.
Hey, this is me in front of the CN Tower.
Exactly.
Right? This is me in this beautiful place. But you never show your picture cleaning the toilet, right?
No, not those ones.
And especially, and I'm sad to say that, but some people may be a little cruel because back home, when it was that debate, because at this point, unfortunately in my country, a lot of people are immigrating. They're living a really tough situation. But back then, whenever someone would take the decision of leaving, the friends back home would be really cruel.
Oh, really?
They'll say, oh, you're going to go now, you're going to clean butts. Right? Now you're going to wipe butts. Now you're going to clean the floor. Get ready. Take out your graduation ring. Take out your graduation ring because now you're going to be cleaning with detergent.
You're going to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Very sarcastic. And that hurt me. It hurt me a lot, but I wouldn't get into a fight because if I would get into a fight, I would be telling them that I'm cleaning. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that was my survival job. And it taught me many things. I worked with wonderful people. I got to learn about different people from different cultures. I was hired by a great company called TBM Service Group. They clean the public washrooms at the TTC. They clean the buses at the TTC, and they also have customer service ambassadors there.
Okay.
It was a great company, and it is a great company. I still work for them, man.
Okay.
Okay. So I learned. I worked with wonderful people. The TTC was great with me too. I got to know the supervisors and everything. It was a good experience.
That's awesome.
And that experience is what actually helped me reach my goal.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Because what do you do now?
Well, I'm a manager.
You're a manager
for TBM.
Now.
I'm a manager there.
You bumped up to manager.
And I didn't even become a supervisor.
Oh, that's quite the promotion.
Yes. Do you want to know how it happened?
How did it happen?
Well, remember that I told you that I was volunteering at Rogers TV?
At Rogers,
right?
yeah.
And I love that. I have great friends.
Behind the camera, right?
Behind the camera.
Awesome.
Yes, and that's a great place to learn skills and to get to know people. So I started out there as a cameraman, and then I was trained to be in audio. I was trained to be a switcher. I was trained to be a director. And I did all of those things.
Awesome.
It was great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they knew that you were a volunteer.
Okay.
So you will screw up. And they'll say, listen, this is the way.
It's okay.
You're just a volunteer.
Guess we can't take it out of your salary.
I guess we can't fire you because you don't work here.
Exactly. That works out then.
It works out.
Mistakes can be made.
Yeah.
Little leeway in.
I know. One day I misspelled Etobicoke.
Oh, yes?
And it was on TV, on live.
Oh, no.
Okay. So then one day during a show, right? During the pre-production, the producer told us, oh, today we just have one guest, right? Because we were used to having a panel of guests, right?
Okay.
A panel of guests. And whenever there was a panel of guests, you will have camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and all of these things. But it was just one guest, right? So the producer said, you know what? Today's going to be very slow. All we need is just one cameraman today. And the guest is going to be Andy Byford. And when I heard Andy Byford, I went, what?
Oh, yeah.
He's the CEO of the TTC.
Yeah.
Right? And I went, who? Andy Byford. And I went, okay. Then she asked, who wants to be the cameraman? So at that point, nobody wanted to be the
Shoot up your
cameraman.
hand.
I went like, it's me. Right? So she looked at me and she laughed.
Oh, really?
She laughed. You know why?
Why?
She knew exactly what I was doing.
Oh, really?
Yes, she knew what I was doing. She said, that's a smart guy. He wants to be on the floor. He wants to be the cameraman with Andy Byford, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I was a cameraman at the end of the show. She introduced me to him.
Oh, that's great.
She introduced me to
she's
him.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great thing.
Yeah.
Listen, every time in your life, there might be an experience or something that might make a big difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something, a cornerstone for something else. That was definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she introduced me, nice to meet you too, right? And then she told me, hey, he works for you. And then he asked me, what do you do? And remember that the survival job part, the cleaner, that's the part you want to keep out.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be typecast, right?
Yeah.
That's the part. No, that's the part I had to use.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I told him, well, I'm a subcontractor. I work with TBM, and I clean your public washrooms. And then he said, great, Josh, nice to meet you too. And you're volunteering here? And I said, yes. He said, wow, that's a great thing that after work you come and you volunteer because it's a community channel, right?
Yeah.
So he really liked that part, that I was volunteering.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and that's why I recommend all newcomers and immigrants to think about that part. Volunteering is important. Yes, it builds you up, gives you experience, and you acquire, you network, right?
Yeah.
And it tells a lot about your character too.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, so and it helped me, right? Because after I met him, he gave me his business card. I took it, I put it in my pocket, and he said, whenever you need anything, let me know.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I went, okay.
Super nice. That's
Super
awesome.
nice. Alison, at that moment, that's when all of the pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit in.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because you see me like this, right?
Yeah.
I'm a happy, positive guy.
Always.
Right? and this is the real me. But even the real me, the guy that smiles, sometimes I had moments of doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, I had moments of doubt. Am I doing right? Is this the right direction, right? Is this okay? Is this going to work? I had doubts. Nevertheless, I also had goals.
Yes.
And the goal was very simple. Always move forward, right? And don't get rid of your survival job, right? And the fact that I was doing cleaning, it helped me be very stable in that job. I cleaned toilets for 2 years. Okay. Yes. So after I received the card from Andy Byford, I was, okay, now I have it. I have all of the pieces of the puzzle are here. Don't screw it up.
No pressure.
Don't screw it up. You know why? Because just to illustrate, and probably you might relate to this. You go out, you have a best friend, right? You have a best friend, right? And then if the best friend falls in love with you and you don't love the guy, it might end up the nice friendship. And then he's going to be all upset. Oh, I'm in the darn friend zone. And you're crying everywhere, right? And then you're not going to want to come out with your friend anymore because, oh, now he's going to want to kiss me again. No, sorry. So that's a mistake many people do. Networking is not about giving you my business card and say, please call me to have a job. No, you're going to screw it up. Right? Networking is not about volunteering in a place and hoping to be hired by that organization. That's another big mistake. Right? When I was at Rogers TV, many of the people that were volunteers there, their big goal was to be hired by Rogers. And no, you're falling in love with your friend. Your friend is your friend. You don't want to date or kiss your friend. Right? And so many people were like, oh, why don't they hire me? And I go, no, listen, we're not here to work. We're here to volunteer, to learn. That's a great thing. Right? For sure. So with him, I didn't want to kill the friendship. Right? I didn't want to kill the friendship. And I didn't want to tell him, can you help me get a job? No. It will be first disrespectful, and then you will kill the nice friendship, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I had the friend. I had the networking, right? So I had to think clearly what I was going to do. That year, in the year 2015, it was the year of the Pan Am Games.
Okay, yes,
Toronto.
yes.
And Toronto invested billions of dollars to make that work, right? There was money here, they needed it, right? And the TTC is the heart of Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? It's the heart, and the arteries and the veins. The TTC is the face of Toronto. And the TTC has a slogan that it says, "We want to make Toronto proud." It's a hard thing to do because there's millions of people using that every single day.
Yeah.
Right? But they want to make Toronto proud, right? And part of making Toronto proud during the games is to have a beautiful, clean subway and the buses, tourism, friendly information, people feeling welcome, and of course a clean washroom. Right? A clean washroom, right? So then I said, okay, that's it. That's going to be my chance. You know why? Because one day I was cleaning during the Pan Am Games, and somebody came up to me. I'm a Spanish-looking guy, right? You're not going to ask me if I speak Italian, eh? No, I'm a Spanish-looking guy, and somebody came asking me questions in Spanish. Remember, the Pan Am Games was all America, right?
Yeah.
And out of all America, I don't know the numbers, but I'll say a good 80% speak Spanish. People came up to me several times. Hey, how can I get there? How can I get there? And there I was mopping. I said, yeah, you have to take this train. You have to go there. And I was happy. And I said, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And then I wrote him an email saying, hey, hello, how are you? Because when I met him, I asked him, can I call you Andy? He said, sure. And I asked him permission, eh?
Yeah, of course.
And he said, sure. Right? And then, dear Andy, can I volunteer? Right? He didn't answer the email, but the next day he was there on site.
Oh, really?
He was there on site. He was there. It was part of his job, and I used to clean the Yonge and Bloor station, which is one of the main stations, right? Because it's an intersection, right? He was there. He said, hey, Josh, thank you very much for volunteering. And by the way, I heard something great about you. That you solved the situation in the washroom. There was a bad smell, and you addressed it, and you solved it. And the station manager recommended you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so there's another important thing.
Good work pays off.
That's right. That's right. And I always tell myself, it doesn't matter what you do, you will get noticed, right? Do your best. This is my survival job. Don't hate your survival job, right? Don't kick those buckets and say, oh, I'm just cleaning. No. Once you say yes to that, you have to give that gold. That is your gold right there. Do the best. And I will do my best, honestly, thinking that one day somebody is going to notice, right? And it makes you feel good too, eh? It builds up your self-esteem, right? You take pride in what you're doing.
Satisfying going home with a job well done.
It is satisfying, right? You're not doing it because you think someone's going to watch you or punish you. No, you're doing it because you want to do what is good, right? So then he said, yeah, the manager recommended you. Unfortunately, you can't volunteer here because you're already working.
Oh, really? You can't do both.
You can't do both.
Oh, okay.
You can't do both. But thank you very much. I'm going to call TBM, right? Right? And then the next day, I received a phone call. Josh, it was the CEO of TBM.
Oh, awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Works fast then.
Fast. It was really fast. He called me, hey, Josh, how are you? Good. And then he told me, hey, by the way, Andy Byford called me and he recommended you and all of that. In my mind, I told myself, this is the job interview. That was the job interview. You remember those job interviews that I said?
You weren't getting.
That I was not getting?
This one.
This is it. This is it. So in my mind, I was like thinking, right? Because I did have a lot of help, eh? I had help from Humber College Community Service.
Okay.
Right? I have a friend there, Anna. She was my counselor. She was the one that would help me, eh? So I was remembering everything I practiced with Anna. Right? I remember Skills for Change also because they also helped me out. I remember all of those tips. The 30-second speech, right? And then I went, I answered and I went, this is it. This is the moment, right? And then he said, come to my office tomorrow. Let's talk about your future.
Amazing.
Yeah, just like that, eh?
Wow, that's incredible.
Beautiful. So then I went to his office, right? We had an interview, and he said, Josh, why didn't you tell me you had all of this education and all of that? And then I told him, if I would have told you, you wouldn't hire me. Right?
Okay, yeah.
You wouldn't hire me, right?
Yeah.
And at that moment, and being very honest, I was not ready for a management position yet. I was developing. Right? Because those skills that I acquired cleaning helped me become a manager within the business, right?
Yep.
And I know the business. I know it inside out.
Yeah.
Right? I know it because I was developed there. I learned. I got the training. So now I'm a good manager thanks to that prior experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
So then at that moment, they needed a manager. They needed a manager, and the company likes hiring from within, the promoting from within, right? Because the reason that I already mentioned, right? So then one day I was the person cleaning.
Yeah.
The next day I showed up with a tie. I'm the manager.
That's awesome.
So of course, with all due respect, my bosses, right? And they treated me really nice, right? But my bosses, the supervisors and all of that, one day I said, I'm your boss.
Funny how things turn out.
Really funny. But we made a good team, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
We made a good team, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how it happened, eh?
That's incredible.
Yeah, and now I manage the account, right? And thinking of many things, right? Like for instance, what would I do differently, right? What mistakes did I do that I would, if I have a chance to change something, what would I do? Honestly, I would not change anything at all.
Yeah?
Yeah, especially the negative, especially
Yeah,
the
that's true,
mistakes.
because it had to get you
It had to
to
get
where
me
you
here,
are now, right?
It had to get me here, right?
Yeah.
All of those things brought me to your show today.
That's
right?
true.
right?
That's true.
If these things, the good with the bad, especially the bad or what people might perceive as a negative, you have to learn how to embrace the negatives.
Yeah.
Right? Because the negatives are what are teachings that are going to build you up. Your character is built and developed by the negative experiences. The good experiences, they're just there to help you cope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they sure do help coping.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
so
fantastic.
that's how it happens.
That's true. Well, with your story, I guess, yeah, I wouldn't do anything differently, because if you didn't volunteer for the camera job that one day, you would have never ran into
That's right.
CEO of TTC.
And that's good that you mentioned it, because if you would compare a cameraman from a director, hey, being a director is better. But no, I needed to be the cameraman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Right? I
absolutely.
needed that. Hey, is cleaning seem negative? Some people might, but it brought me where I am.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? The years that I waited there, and while I was waiting for my process to come here, 10 years. Do I regret that? No, that prepared me for coming. That prepared me, because when you come, you must have money. You must have money.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
And they ask
Toronto
you.
is not cheap.
It is not cheap at all.
Not at all.
It is not cheap. And I don't know how the government works and how much money they require each one to have when they come. But they did ask us, how much money do you have?
Oh, okay. So you have to have something, obviously.
You have to have something.
Yeah.
You have to have something, because you're not going to show up without money, living under a bridge, trying to figure it out.
Can't do that in winter.
You can't. In winter, no, yeah. I don't think it's fun.
No.
You can't. So these requirements and the extra time that we had to wait and invest, they were actually good things.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything that you think the Canadian government could do differently to make it easier for you?
Okay.
Either getting here or setting up here?
That's a beautiful question. Okay? My experience is not unique. Many newcomers go through the same thing. Unfortunately, most cannot go beyond that survival job. Then you have the taxi driver who's an engineer. Then you have the person working in a fast food restaurant who's a doctor, right? It's not that working at a fast food restaurant or driving a taxi is bad. No, all jobs are good. They're honest. You need a job, right? It builds you up. You have to pay your bills, right? It's good. But for somebody who feels stuck in that situation, it might be hurtful. And then people become bitter. And after they're here, probably they sold everything they had back home just to come here.
Yeah.
How could they go back?
Yeah.
Right? How could they go back?
Yeah.
Right? So the government knows this. And therefore the government has always tried to implement wonderful initiatives to try to solve the situation. And they're good. They're good initiatives. There's a lot of bridging programs where they help people acquire the extra needed skills to reach or to find their job, right? But there's challenges too, because if you had to decide between eating and feeding your family or going to extra school, what do you have to do?
Yeah, obviously you got to do
You got to feed.
Yeah.
You got to eat, right? So a lot of people are stuck into this part. Right? And it's not that these are bad. No, you need them. And that's good, right?
Yeah.
But in order to solve that situation, going back to what I told you, the government changed the law. They
yes.
changed the visa. And now, in the new points, because it's a point system, it's still based on the knock list, right? The knock list is still there.
Yeah.
But now you acquire extra points if you went to school here.
Okay.
If you went to school here, and if you have Canadian experience while you went to school.
Okay.
So that's designed to help prevent these things from happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole
Okay.
thing. That's what's the government
So
do.
you can get like a student visa just to come over here and gain
So
some
student,
Canadian
yes.
experience.
So
that you
those are
can
the
eventually-
ones. Those are the ones that are going to become the future immigrants. They're the ones that will not go through what I went through. I have mixed feelings.
Yes.
Yes, I have mixed feelings. I say good, great, it's going to work for them.
Yeah.
But thinking about my personal experience, I know that I would have never qualified for that. You
Oh,
know
no?
why?
Because you can't come here and
And study.
Yeah.
If I'm married, I have a wife, I have to provide. I have no money to come here and study.
yeah.
And coming as a student, your college tuition is more expensive. Think about
Yeah,
OSAP.
yeah, I
right?
know. I find that strange too. If you're an international student,
If you're international, you have to pay. Whoa,
Yeah,
all the way up.
exactly.
And look, and I'm still paying OSAP.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And I'm still paying OSAP, and I
Same.
applied as a. You say okay, right? And I applied as a residence, right?
Yeah.
So if you come as an international student, you don't qualify for OSAP.
Oh, really?
You
Wow.
don't,
So you
yeah.
got to pay it on your own.
You
And
gotta.
then if you have your place back home still, because you can't stay here after school,
That's right.
you're paying for
Yes,
both
yes.
places.
And besides that, you have to demonstrate that you have enough money to support yourself 1 year.
for 1 year.
For 1 year. Of course, after you come here, after certain months, you do get a work permit where they allow you to work part-time.
Okay.
But before coming, they don't tell you these things, right? They say you have to demonstrate that you have money to support yourself.
Okay, yeah.
But here's the other thing. Even if I had the money to do that, I would never consider that. You know why? Because there's still no guarantee that you're going to stay.
Oh, really?
Yes, because even if you graduate
Yeah.
and you got your Canadian experience, your networking, if you don't get a job offer in the field that you went to, it has to be in the field, they won't give you the residency.
Really?
They won't. And so, and then I told my wife, it would break my heart coming here, falling in love with a country,
Yeah, and then not be able to
and
stay.
not being able to say, I would rather not come at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair enough.
So that's what the government has been doing. But I still believe that there's more that can be done, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you want to
For
hear?
sure. Yeah. What's your
Okay.
take on it?
Okay, my take on it is this. Probably somebody after they hear this, they might give me a job in the government.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. Then I'll say, okay, this is the thing. It's not about helping the immigrants. It's not. And I tell this to immigrants too. Don't expect the country to change for you. Don't expect the country to change for you, because the country will not change for you.
Yeah.
You have to change. It's up to you to try to change. Of course, there are government resources designed to help you. Welcome, embrace them, use them, try to do your best.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not about helping the immigrant. It's about how the immigrant can help us. You know why?
Yeah.
Let's imagine, what's our population now? We're over what, 33, 35 million?
Yeah.
Okay. If we had no immigrants, in 50 years, this country will have a population of less than 10 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because Canadians are not having enough kids.
Wow.
Right? What's the average of people having children now? One.
Yeah,
if.
yeah, like maybe one.
if,
Yeah.
right? So if a couple of two have only one kid, that means that the next generation there's only one replacing these two.
Yeah.
Right? So that's it. We need people, right? And another thing is this. If this couple, right, becomes old, where are the nurses? Are there enough nurses to take care of them?
Yeah,
right?
You need jobs.
You need these people to help you, right? And some business people have been very clever. They say they saw opportunity, right? Have you ever heard about ethnic marketing?
No.
Okay, ethnic marketing is a very interesting concept. You need foreigners to make your business look better. And probably the market that you're selling is aimed towards a certain ethnic group.
Okay.
Right? And it makes sense. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Indians moving in. If you have an Indian salesman that speaks Punjabi or something, he might be the better salesperson to help this community.
Yeah.
And therefore, who helps who? Right?
Yeah.
Who helps who? This person is good for business, right?
Yeah.
That's one first step. But do you know one bigger step that is needed that I think? Okay. Canada currently, 75% of our business is only with the United States.
Okay, yeah.
And it's great. It's good. The United States is a great business partner. But what would happen if there was a problem, a recession in America that would affect our business relation or our products, right? Then our main client can affect us, right? And I don't want to be pessimistic, but just think about the potatoes in Ireland, You can't just focus on one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really think that the foreigners coming here are a big treasure because they could help us develop relationships with their countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how many Indian people live here? How many Indian people went to film production school? Can't they produce another Bollywood film here?
Yeah.
Can we make a good Bollywood film here by Canadian Indian immigrants that live here?
Yeah.
That would be a great story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? What about somebody that comes from Iran? How many beautiful stories can a producer come up with, right? And I know Gloria Yazini, she made a film, and she funded it herself, basically.
Yeah,
right. So I really think that there's a treasure. These people, foreigners, they could help us in the future, in the long run.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So my last question for you
Sure.
is: do you have any advice for someone who just landed in Canada? Any advice that you would give a brand new person to Canada?
Okay. My advice to the brand new person is this: embrace the moment. Be happy. Smile. Right? Smile is important.
Yeah.
Be realistic. Don't expect the country to change for you. Don't expect the country to change for you. You have to adapt to the country. Network. Volunteer. Right? Don't be afraid of taking a survival job. Right?
Okay.
Don't be afraid of the survival job. Do all of these things and then you will succeed. But success does not come because you got out of the survival job. So success comes because of your state of happiness that does not depend on exterior factors. So if you're here in Canada and you're happy and your family is safe, right? If your family is safe, because a lot of us come here because it's not safe back home.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you prefer? Being back home and being a doctor and being unsafe? Or would you rather be here driving a taxi and know that you are safe and your children are safe?
Yeah.
So think about the reasons why you're here, right? And if you do all of these things, then you'll succeed.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
with us today. It was excellent hearing your story.
No, and thank you very much. It was a great honor being here with you, with your crew, with the producers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then that was our interview with Josh today, and it was great hearing his story. This is the Newcomer program on Canada Star TV, and I'm your host, Alison Mullings.